Why so serious, son? Why so serious, son? It's because the world is round, it makes me cry. I'm crazy. I'm a little crazy this morning. Again, I'm happy. I'm happy to be with y'all. I think I'm getting into my Halloween spirit or something. Not really. I'm running out of laundry. Yeah. I gotta go in. Isn't it hideous to do your laundry? Just saying, because I mean, if you, I used to have my in my old apartment, I used to have my washer and dryer inside the apartment, so it was cool. You know, I could just do laundry at any time, anywhere. You know, at any time. But now it's just like, it's just to gather up, and then you start running out of clothes. It's like, oh man, I gotta make the trip to the stupid place and sit there. I try to make it as quickly as possible. My little system works, you know, that it's almost like I'm in and out, you know, 1 hour and I'm out, you know. But yeah, this was the kind of things that, you know, I despise. Anyway, I don't even know where to start. I've been receiving so much communication lately, and it is because I'm literally rooting myself in my feminine energy. It's the only way that you can achieve, you know, link up with divinity. So yes, I'm talking to you, dudes. Kev, no. Hey. I like to share this with guys, especially because you know, we have this thing that is, I shouldn't do that because that's feminine, I shouldn't do that because that's for girls and everything. But man, this is why I don't know where to start. Because as a light worker, as someone who despises lies, as someone who honestly flies into a blind rage. No, I wouldn't say a blind rage, but it does make my blood boil when I see what lies do, especially what it has done to humankind. We are literally walking around like heads with our, like chickens with our heads cut off, just running everywhere. Not because we cut off our heads, but might as well, but because we're so confused. These types, these nasty types that have no empathy. This is the common denominator. They have no empathy, and what they've been doing is literally just confusing our history, erasing our history. As I mentioned before, we have a long history here on Earth, but everything has been either erased or muddled up. It's just all over the place. So this is why a lot of people are running around confused, including myself, right? So, but by having this nature that I've always had, that I gotta get to the root of this, because it's when I was little, ever since I was little, I've been always like going, why do we have to do this, and why are we doing this, and can we stop doing this, because it is completely unproductive and it makes no sense. It's because my intuition was letting me know all along. Now, intuition is so big that this is why woman as an entity has been brutalized and kept under the thumb of these nasty beings that I've been speaking about. Again, the more you look at the evidence, the more that story from Drumbalu Melchizedek that was channeled from Thoth in the book The Flower of Life, the more it makes sense. It makes sense because, well, when you think about the planet that they came from, now this is just the last planet that they came from. We're not talking about the other planets they invaded and they end up, destroying. They destroyed Atlantis. Because again, this is how they are. They don't care if they burn everything down. Again, I like the Joker because, he's a Batman character and he's funny. But I don't subscribe to that, faction of people who see him as a symbol of anarchism, or not even anarchism. It's more of a fascism of, retaliating with force and just burn everything down, be cruel, do nasty things and laugh about it. This is why I'm a little, just shake my head because the new Joker movie is out and I love the character. I love what Phoenix is doing with the character. He's doing a great job, and the fact that Lady Gaga is playing, his counterpart, I'm just like, my God, they're both perfect because they're both great actors. They're very talented people, and I'm sure they're gonna tell a very compelling story. I can't wait to watch it. But the fact that it is gonna happen exactly 1 month before the elections, I know that these morons are gonna take him as a fighting flag, and you're gonna see a lot of jackasses running around with Joker makeup, and doing awful things until the election and after the election. Why? My intuition is telling me. As a light worker, my intuition is stronger the more I lean or I root myself in my feminine side. This is why women have been kept down for so long. Remember how I told you that the reason why black people are always persecuted, always being punished, always being put down? Because they are the direct descendants of the Sumerian gods, the gods from Africa. Exactly. They were the first ones to be created, basically. Enlil did not want us. If you know the story, Enlil did not want us, but Ea or Enki so benefit and see this, after we were created by his son and Inanna, right? It was Ea or Enki, Inanna, and Ningisira, Thoth, who created us. And when they saw us, they're like, oh my God, these little guys have a lot of potential. So this is why they taught us music, they taught us to write, they taught us so many things. This is where we got our information. We weren't just a bunch of idiots walking into rocks and everything. And oh, yeah, this is rock. We can make this into wheel, It wasn't like that. This information was fed to us, again, either through our intuition or just by example. Even, instruments of war, makeup, tarot, things like tarot, divination, tools, magic was taught to us by these wonderful beings. But there's that other faction that did not want us around. When they put us in the Garden of Eden, it wasn't just a nice little garden. It was an observation place. Basically, they wanted to keep us, in there. And then once Adam and Eve started to procreate, they said, no, get the hell out of here. We don't want these things around. That's what happened. That was the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. What's telling me? It's my intuition. And this is why women have been kept under the yoke of these people. Because every single woman out there have a high priestess within them. So anytime they spoke up, they gave examples of what their intuition was telling them, guess what they were called? Witch. Oh, she must have a pact with the devil. We must put her down. Let's burn her. I mean, these are the types who would hang, I mean, after brutalizing and then burning black people. And they were posing for pictures, very proud of their work. Now you see, there is a relationship why the abuse. There is a relationship why all the lies. Again, if we don't tune into our feminine energy, our intuition cannot work. And this is why we're always kept sad. We're always kept stressed out, under the yoke. Remember the pride of baboons that I told you about this study that this biologist made? Is in the documentary Stress, a Silent Killer, done by National Geographic. The alphas were always beating the shit out of the betas, basically, whether they were female, child, or a male. They were getting the shit beat out of them. They were constantly being kept under stress. We are constantly being kept under stress, under the terror of what's going to happen if we speak up, what's going to happen if I really speak my mind, what's going to happen if I, wait a second, I see something that is not right, what's going to happen if I call it out. It's been happening for centuries, for eons. Jewish people, or the Hebrew tribe, was brutalized as well, because they were I think they were like the keepers of the records, or they had something to do with the high priesthood. The Mayas kept the records. I always like to imagine the Samoan tribes. They were like the warriors, the ones that kept us safe, because they're huge. And whenever I see those statues from those big statues from the Easter Island, I always think that one of these days they're gonna come alive, and they're just gonna go back to business, being our protectors, because that's how we lived when these types weren't around. But again, when you consider Mars, this planet, the way it looks, it's lifeless, right? It looks like there was something really horrible happened there, and all life just stopped being. It almost like it's dried up, it's extinguished. It looks dead, almost like Egypt looks, and that's not the way Egypt looked. What was the name of it? I forgot the ancient name for Egypt. Oh man, I'll remember it. But basically it was called the Black Lands. But there was a big war there, and it was again, the gods and their kids fighting amongst themselves, because they wanted power. And after that, if you remember the Battle of the Titans, or the War of the Titans, that's where it was. It's just because our history has been muddled up and mixed and just twisted around. This is why we see these monuments, and inside of us we go, yeah, this brings something within me. It's something that wants to be awoken, something that has been there, sitting there for eons, and wants to rise up again. It's really interesting when you see the major monuments around the world, how right now they may seem like they're dead, right? It's just, there's just artifacts or monuments from dead civilizations. But I think it's just going to take a little something for them to become reactivated, if they're not already. This is the stuff that people really don't talk about, because they're not informed in these matters, because they have been, this knowledge has been demonized. I mean, like I mentioned before, if anytime I see my people out there, and because a lot of them are Catholic, they look at it like, that's from the devil. It's like, oh my Lord. They don't actually voice it, but they just look at it weird. It's just because again, I don't subscribe to the crucifix because it was a apparatus of death. It's like putting a gallows and making it sacred. It's like putting up an electric chair and making it sacred. Again, they have been working on our minds for so long that now we see this apparatus of death, these instruments of death, and we go, oh, that's a sacred sign. It does mean, for instance, it's right here. Is it right here? Yeah, you see there's a cross on her chest. It just means the intersection between heaven and earth. That's all it means. This is why the pyramids, the Great Pyramid is built the way it is. It's known or is believed that there's another pyramid upside down underneath. So it looks like this, right? Like the, what's it called? The auric field that we oh my god, it's escaping me right now. I told you guys about it the last time, but this is why I am so adamant about the truth. I am so serious about the truth, because if you're not telling the truth, then what are you trying to do? You're trying to play some people, right? This is why I can't stand salesmen. The moment they start wanting to sell me something, I'm like, oh, okay, well, you don't really care about me, you just care about yourself. And nobody cares what you know about the product until you show them how much you care. That's all there is to it. So these people, again, whenever you have somebody, just trying to gaslight you into buying a product, just understand that they really don't care about your needs. Oh, this is going to help your family. Don't you want something good for your family? Those kind of arguments. But the reason I bring this up is because people need to know this. Because enough is enough. There's the time for lies is over. Because now, when we hear lies, there's something within us, our intuition, letting us know that wait, something doesn't smell right here. And because we question it, now they're calling us the woke. Yeah, because we have awoken. Our minds have that special light within them now, that kind of stuff don't fly anymore. It doesn't sit right with us. Does it sit right with you to know that women have no rights, that black people are constantly being hunted and punished, that Hebrew people are constantly being blamed for everything, and that us, the children of the sun, we're constantly being accused of all kinds of crimes, when again, every single one of the original tribes that this earth held, they're God's children. So whenever we have been colonized, whenever we have been slaved, and we regain our freedom, we never retaliate. Because we know we have to be good with God. That we know that there's a greater power that we can't insult by, going after another one of God's children, because we consider everybody another one of God's children. See, that's the difference between those savages who called everybody savages while acting animalistic. That's why we don't go after them. But because again, when you do so many messed up things, you worry that it's going to come after you, because they should, because eventually it comes to you, because you get what you gave. That's why they're completely freaking out that, oh, they're replacing us, we're going to be replaced. And it's like, bro, you're replacing yourself, because nobody wants you around the way you behave. And whenever you show a feminine trait, they have to put you down. It's like instilling them now. They have to put you down. They see a black person, oh, can't trust them, and let's get them. They see a Jewish person, it's like, oh, they're gonna betray us somehow and everything. So it's all these stories that have been told that have muddled up the waters, and it's just made us basically fight amongst ourselves. So, on the next episode, I'm going to speak about the 48 laws of power and what this orange moron is using to basically create all these problems and keep us under the yoke of those who enjoy being cruel, of those who enjoy being on top of everybody else, the 7 original tribes, God's children. They're the only ones going after all of us. All of us. So stay tuned for the next one, okay? I'll talk to you later.